Well. Today I want to talk about a few things. The first thing I want to talk about today is our young black boys. You know, I'm getting tired of seeing our young black boys doing a lot of this craziness in the world. Drive-bys, joining gangs, and all this old kind of crazy foolishness. Having babies here and there and everywhere. Well, I'm tired of seeing that. I can't blame that on white people. I can't even blame it on his mother, or mothers. I have to look in the mirror at the person who's responsible for all of this stuff. And it's the black man. He let things get out of hand. Started getting high in the 70s. Having sex all over the place in the late 70s and 80s. And what happened was, while he had a good woman, had a wife and a family, instead of him slipping off and being gone for an hour or two, he started spending the night over at the other woman's house. So the temptation got to him. And lo and behold, because of that temptation, he wasn't strong enough to resist it. He left his wife, left his family, and left a woman to raise his son, and in many cases his daughter. Now, a woman can raise a son, but she cannot teach the boy how to be a man. It takes another man to do that. And think about what you're doing when you run off and leave your families behind. The daughter suffers, because who is the first person that she has any male contact with other than her father? It's that knuckleheaded boyfriend who's going to mistreat her, abuse her in many cases, and mess over her. And now you're stirring a little bit of other stuff like drugs and uncontrollable temper, and you get today's society. So what am I saying? I'm saying that what we need to do is go back to our families. Forget about all these other women that we've been fooling around with. Go back to that one woman that had those children for you. Now, I know in many cases some of you got 3 and 4 baby mamas. But some type of way, you got to make your rounds to go and be with those kids. Get involved in their lives. You know, you can't be in 3 or 4 different places at one time. So you got to be ready to make a sacrifice for the children's sake. See, because that's what it's about. It's about making sacrifices. Life is not about all the bling bling and all of these other things that I can have, the material things, the cars and the clothes and the houses. That's not life. You can't take any of that stuff with you. Your future is your children. You know, there's one group of people that learned that a long time ago. And that's my Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters. They learned that a long time ago. They know that their future lies in their children. So we can take a page out of their book. Go back to the way we used to be back in the 50s and 60s. Go back home where you belong. You know, if you got to go back and cry a few tears, shed a few tears, and tell your wife and your girlfriend that you've been acting a fool and you're sorry, ask for forgiveness, but you want to make things right for the children's sake. Now, some of you, you're not going to be able to do it because of temptation. You can't keep your hands off the other booties. If you see a fine woman coming by and she looks at you, and the next thing you know, you want to get naked with her. You got to get beyond all of that kind of crazy stuff. Because some of that stuff is a setup. Nothing but the devil. He wants you to leave your home, leave your children, leave your family, and follow some floozy. Yeah, I said floozy. That's about the worst that I can use on this program today. But I don't use those other terms anyway. See, we let these young people get up here and start disrespecting these girls by calling them all these different names. And then we get upset with them. We can't do that. It all starts from home. I'm a firm believer in education. As Dr. Bill Cosby said, he made a lot of statements that were true. A lot of people that they condemned him, they just didn't like the things that he said, but they were true. A lot of what he said was true. But see, our problem is not just with education. Education will help. See, our problem is we didn't have the parenting skills to raise our children. So that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a collective effort of a lot of men going back home with the tail between their legs and try and help these women raise these boys and girls to be productive citizens. And that educational part should also be included. But you see, while a child can sit up and learn, make good grades, get degrees, graduate from college, that cannot replace the love of a father or a mother. See, there's something about the man as being the head of his household that strengthens that unit. And once that unit is strengthened, nothing is impossible. Which brings me back to another subject. Once the family structure was divided, then opened the door for Satan to come in. And he can come in any type of way, through a little peephole. And once he did that, people stopped going to church. And then talking about church, church is different now. You got people playing games on you now with church. I heard one person tell me this, man, I stopped going to church because, man, the pastor got a rose and the deacon got a jet. I'm not going to knock anybody. No man of God. It's not my place. And some people like to say a woman of God. If that's what you want to say, if that's what you want to be, I don't have anything to do with it.